All right, Home Squad Sports. Everyone, welcome to the college basketball preview. Very excited. Got a full slate here. Just a lot of content to get into. But, got games already going on. Nothing too big right now, but we do have games have been wrapping up. Some lower level stuff, but we got games all night, and we have some games starting up here pretty soon as well. Right now at 3, we got St. Louis and Santa Clara. Right now at 3, you can catch it on YouTube. But we'll go ahead and get into it. Very excited. Do want to wrap up the obvious here. UConn was able to get 2 in a row national champions last year. They're going for the three-peat. We got three-peat trying to go there at NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, UConn Huskies are as well, and it's going to be a long road for them. I think it's going to be tough. They don't have the same team. Obviously, everyone knows that. They lost Klingon, Stephon Castle, and a couple other guys as well. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get through. It's going to be a long road, and we'll get into it. So we'll get a top 25, and this will change very quickly. It changes all the time in basketball. They give some leeway, and sometimes we got some teams that were just way overhyped or underhyped. So we got Kansas at 1, Alabama at 2, UConn defending national champions there at 3. Houston at 4, which we're definitely going to get talk about them as well. Iowa State at 5, Gonzaga Bulldogs, my Gonzaga Bulldogs at 6, Duke at 7, which was crazy to see. I don't really see why they are number 7 at all. Baylor, I can kind of see why, because they got a little bit more turnover, but they are going to be very good as well. They'll probably finish higher than that. UConn there, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the three-peat, so that rounds out there the 8 that we'll go over, but we're going to definitely touch on some other teams as well. We got UConn at 9, Arizona at 10, Tommy Lloyd, former Gonzaga assistant there at Arizona. Auburn, they lost some guys. We'll see what they'll be able to do at 11. They've been getting some really good recruits, though. I will say Auburn has, and we'll see what they can do. They're always a sleeper in the SEC. SEC is going to be loaded this year. Baylor's a good team there if you're looking at Big 12, but I mean SEC. It's going to be crazy this year. We got Florida is going to be very good. Kentucky's got new coaches. We'll go through that whole new roster, whole new coaching staff, which is crazy to see. John Calipari out, so man, it's been crazy. A lot of turnovers. We'll go over the top 5 coaches that we have debuting and making their new home and seeing what they can do with their new program. So Tennessee at 12, Texas A&M at 13. Then we got Purdue, Zach Edey. He was there for so long. He's gone. 14. Creighton at 15. Then we got Arkansas. John Calipari making his debut there with Tyson Chicken Money. He can't get tournament wins there at UK, so I don't know if he'll be able to get tournament wins in Arkansas. We'll see, but he'll probably put some guys in the league. IU at 17, Marquette there, Texas, Cincinnati. That rounds out top 20. But I do want to highlight the Gators here. Dalton, co-host here on the football show. He's a avid Gator fan, long-lived, Gator fan. But I think they're going to have a great year, man. I really do. I'm not even just being biased. I think they're going to finish top 15 at least, make a little run. You may see them dancing there in the Sweet 16, but we'll see. UCLA at 22, that's a big question mark for me. UK as well with Coach Pope. They think they got their guy. Man, we'll go over that, but we'll see with Ole Miss as well and Rutgers, who I really want to get into right off the bat. Rutgers has got some hell of a talent coming in. They got arguably the number 1 pick, probably the number 2 pick there. They got Ace Bailey coming in and Dylan Harper, son of Ron Harper. He is a long-time vet in the league, 90s. He played with Kobe and Shaq on the Lakers, played with Jordan. I mean, was a Cavalier. He was the number 1 there at the Cavaliers coming into the league, and was really good 2 guard there, big, kind of ahead of his time, really good mid-range, and he could do it all. So he's got his son, there at Rutgers, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. And we're going to look at the recruit they got coming in and just the scrimmage that they did as well. So this is Ace Bailey, who's arguably going to be a top 3 pick. I think he will be a top 3 pick. Absolute freak, man. He's really good. He's fearless, very just aggressive. He talks that talk, and but he can back it up. He's got the game, so he's really good. Take a look at his some highlights here. Then what I got sprinkled in is their scrimmage that Rutgers had with St. John's. So we'll take a look at that as well. Yeah, as you can see here, man, he's just really good. I mean, he's going to put a little bit more weight on too. So you add a little bit more weight on him, and it's going to be night night. He could be Anthony Edwards Jr. maybe. I mean, I don't know. This sky's the limit for him. we'll see teams tanking like you've never seen tank before. I think we're going to see the Nets maybe going to get into lottery for the Cooper Flag or him, or a couple other teams as well. We're going to see that just are going to be injury riddled or just not that good. I think this is just a proof that we're going to need expansion in the league because we got so much talent coming in and we have so much talent out of the league as well. So these guys coming in, which I mean, a lot of people are going to be pushed out the league this year with the draft class coming in, honestly, which is the hard truth until they get some expansion teams in. But this is the scrimmage they had against St. John's, which is a really good scrimmage. A lot of these exhibition games are, lower level teams, in-state teams usually only, but they were able to, play up to their competition, and probably a big game for the locals there. So this is Dylan Harper there too. Good lefty, very good lefty, big body. He can really make all the shots as well. When you got a lefty and a righty who's really good, that they really can space out the defense, they can be on the same side of the court and it really not matter. So I think it's going to be a really big advantage for them. I'm very excited to see what Rutgers is going to do. If Rutgers at top 25, I think they gave them some love at top 25, but I think they should have been higher, honestly. I don't see why they just barely got in. We'll see. They obviously are facing St. John's here, and Rick Pitino led team. Hey, they're going to be pretty good this year too. But I think Rutgers, man, you're going to see them in a tournament, and you're going to see them pretty good for the first time in a long time since like the Big East days. So we'll see. This is the highlights they're finishing up for them, which we definitely want to get into some other stuff too. Now, so many games today. I didn't count how many games there are, but it's probably 50 games today, just the first day of the season. And man, but we do have a top 3 games of today. We have at 8:30, 10 o'clock, and 11:30. So you'll be able to catch most of these. We'll see what they do. I don't know if they're going to drag out games like they do in football this year, with media timeouts. So I hope not. But tonight we have some great games. We have Florida there, 21 ranked Florida going against South Florida, in-state rival there. We will see Ohio State, Texas, and Baylor and Gonzaga Bulldogs. My Gonzaga Bulldogs, man, very nervous. Very nervous. I'm honestly going to go ahead and say I won't be surprised if we lose. They are got the freshman sensation VJ Edgecombe. If anyone knows about VJ Edgecombe, you're going to know about him tonight. He's gonna probably make some play that goes viral, and he's going to be a top 5 pick this year. He's very good. He's got a cast with him that's pretty good too, which I got to give him some credit. So yeah, 3 games tonight. I don't really know how these are going to sway. I would go with Florida, Texas, and Gonzaga. That's just kind of what they call chalk. Those are probably going to be the favorites. We're probably going to be barely favored, but I don't know. I think Florida's going to be very tough this year. They got a 7'9" guy, which is, creative player, and they got some good transfers as well. Texas has got Bradshaw. Or no, Ohio State's got Bradshaw, and then Texas, man, I don't know what they're going to do. Texas has always been tough. We'll get into them. They've been rumored their coaching changes all these years, but they've got a brand new arena. So I think this will be their second year with the arena, and I know because Gonzaga, man, we took an ass kicking there in that brand new arena, and it's very nice. It's weird because it's like a old school football. You would think it wasn't recently built. They kind of built it classic. So I like it. But what we're going to get into here, the next subject is the coaches. We got a lot of coaches making their debuts tonight and tomorrow in this season. So we're going to go ahead and with the obvious here, Kentucky with Mark Pope. Man, I'm not a hater, honestly. I'm a realist. I've seen this guy a lot because I'm a Gonzaga fan. He was at BYU. He just never got a tournament win. He's 1-11 against Gonzaga, so we only lost to him once, and then he gets the Kentucky job. Tell me why he deserved this job besides being a former player, because it doesn't really fit. He doesn't have the resume to earn that job. I know Kentucky job has gone down a little bit in prestige just because of Calipari getting tournament wins and really being able to produce in March, but it's still Kentucky, and you still should have been able to get some guys. I know they swung and missed on a few guys. They tried to go NBA on Billy Donovan, didn't work. Everyone thought after UConn got that second one that they was going to literally clean house with everybody, but they the only really person they really kept was their coach. So, man, I don't know what we'll see, but Mark Pope just doesn't have a crazy good record. I got stats on pretty much all these coaches we're going to go over, but Mark Pope was 261 and 164, 0 tournament wins. His highest rank with BYU was 12. So he was only ranked 12, and I think after that that was his only time he was actually ranked. I think he was only ranked one other time before that, but he was sixth seed in last year's tournament, so it was his best best player. He had, I think Foster is his name. He brought him over from BYU. He's good, but I mean they lost in the first round to Duquesne, and Duquesne didn't go on a crazy run. They lost in the next round, so and then he gets the Kentucky job. So, I mean, you get the Kentucky job, I guess, if you get ranked 12, and that was in 21-22, wasn't last year. And then if you get a six seed, I guess that gets you the Kentucky job now. So he got a whole new squad. They're trying to go back like to the 90s theme, and he's trying to like make them, but he just doesn't have 90s raw talent. They just don't have it. He doesn't have it. I think he needed a couple more years somewhere else and at least get him a tournament win, but we'll see what happens with him. I could harp on him all day. But he could also be decent too. So, but the next one we're going to go to is Dusty May. Dusty May was 161 and 101 at FAU. So he's pretty good. FAU has been really tough. They went to the Final Four in 22-23, and then last year they were good as well. So, I mean, he's 4-1 in the tournament. Now that gets you a big job. He's 4-1 in the tournament. There you go. So, I mean, he went 25-9 last year. His highest rank was only 19, but it's FAU. They dropped a couple conference games, but they had some injuries as well, and they had a couple of their guys leave. I know his point guard at FAU went with Calipari, so we'll get into him in a minute too. But yeah, Dusty May at Michigan, we'll see. It is a hard job. They had Juwan Howard, was the member of the Fab Five there. Wasn't able to get it done. Long list. He can really much joins the long list of players who just weren't able to translate as coaches. Um, he's just kind of too old school, I think, to kind of relate to him. To these new kids, you got to relate to him. You don't have to be young. You just got to relate. And he just didn't relate. I don't think his, he didn't good recruiting either. You would think that would be able to get recruits. Hey, I was a part of the Fab Five, but I don't know. They just haven't been good in a while. And when you're just not that hip and hype and you just haven't been good in a little bit, Michigan, they've been missing out on guys. And they're kind of reminding me of Georgetown, where you just don't really see why they're not getting guys. Georgetown had Pat Ewing as their coach a few years ago, and that didn't work out. So, we'll see. We'll see what Michigan does. Obviously, they're rival in Ohio State, but they're always a tough team. They always have good perimeter shooting, and they've had some good pros. But we'll see if it translates to college wins. They kind of remind me of Kentucky, who they just kind of have pros, but just not good college players. But next coach we want to get into is John Schertz. Probably not familiar with his name, and I do not blame you, but he is a pretty good coach. He's up and coming coach, and he's making his debut there. And he was at Indiana State. He was in promotion. So John Schertz there, he's going to be taking over at St. Louis. St. Louis Billikens, always a solid team. We're going to see what he can do, man. I mean, when this is a gamble now. Kentucky made a gamble, but they're not Kentucky, right? So St. Louis isn't Kentucky. They can make these gambles, but we'll see. Coach Calipari, we know long history there. He is at Arkansas now. Only got one national championship, but he's sent a lot of people to the league. 47 draft picks there, 3 number one overalls, one national title, 410 and 122 at Kentucky. So, I mean, everyone knows this, but he just couldn't get it done in March, man. He lost to too many bad teams in March. I'm a Gonzaga fan, obviously, and I was at the Gonzaga game, in Rupp last year, and we beat them, and we were beating them all game. They came back at the end. Reed Shepherd tried to get him. Reed Shepherd tried to put his team on his back. He couldn't do it, but I don't know. A lot of bad recruits, and I think he just maybe went on like the recruiting websites and just tried to just bad scouting, I guess, just he would get the stars. But everyone knows it's more than stars, and everyone knows it doesn't matter if you got the 1, 2, and 3 player. If they don't fit well, they don't fit. He's had a lot of swing and misses with guards bad in the past, and especially with some bigs. Especially last year, they didn't have any good bigs. So we'll see if he can have a different run there and different turn of luck. With Tyson Chicken money there in Arkansas, I don't know if it's going to do him any good because I don't know if his X's and O's changed. He pretty much just brought all his whole recruiting class over, besides a few that were going to come into Kentucky. So we'll see. We'll keep it in state where I'm at here in Louisville is Pat Kelsey. Man, I think this was another reach. This is another reach, and I think Louisville could have got a lot better coach. Man, they've been a laughing stock for the past couple years. They needed a good hire. They got this dude from Charleston. He's 348 and 234 at Charleston. He was at Winthrop before that. 31-4 last year, had a great year, but was that a fluke? His highest rank, at Charleston, this whole time there was 18, which was last year. So I don't know if that's going to be able to get it done. I looked at their team kind of up and down. One of my buddies, he's a pro, plays overseas, and was able to train with a couple of their guys this year. He said they're pretty good, but I just don't know if they're national contenders. They're going to be a lot better than they have in the last 2 years. So I don't think the fans base is going to be too mad about it. But they got that great arena, KFC Yum Center, arguably the best arena in college basketball as far as just facilities and how nice it is. I think it seats 22,000, which is pretty much an NBA size. And man, you just don't see why they haven't been able to connect the dots. A lot of it is recruiting, and I just think it's culture. They just didn't have a strong culture. They haven't been able to get one since Patino left, and we'll see what they can do. I do think they have hope, but not this year. And this guy Pat Kelsey, I don't like him. He wears like those fake glasses, the clear lenses. I don't like him. I don't think it's going to work out for him, honestly. And I'm not even trying to be biased because I live in Louisville. I'd like to go to watch a game and it be worth my money to go. But it's really, it hasn't been, which is crazy. I haven't been in a game in a long time, for those reasons. But next coach we want to get into is making their debut is Eric Musselman at USC. So he's at USC, was always a solid coach there. He always had a good recruiting class. He kind of reminds me of Rick Barnes. If everybody knows a Rick Barnes, kind of reminds you of him. He's pretty good, man. His record here, let's see, his 205-76. Now that's a record. At Nevada, he was 110-34, and then he was at Arkansas. So he's the one that, he turned Arkansas into pretty much a basketball school in these last 3-4 years. I know he's had to pretty much turn over the whole culture. So those first couple years, you don't really, you're going to have some big losses, but he turned Arkansas into arguably a basketball school for the past 3 years. As a few other coaches have been able to do that, unexpectedly with a couple of these football schools that have kind of turned into basketball schools. Texas A&M was kind of been pretty good. Texas Tech is a pretty good basketball school now. They used to be really good football school. That's kind of changed. So I think it's a hard job though. USC, UCLA is two of the hardest jobs I think in sports, and especially basketball. California, it's hard. It's hard to kind of keep your kids there because the fan base isn't that good. There's so much going on in UCLA. It's a hard time to get people at basketball games, hard time to get people at football games if you're not winning because there's just so much to do around there, and they would just rather go do some other shit. So I don't blame them, I guess. But yeah, I don't think they just have a diehard sports fans in LA. They can get talent, but that does translate there with boosters and stuff because they have Silicon Valley and stuff. They got money to blow, but if they're making all the money off admissions and stuff, it's just really about making it priority. And a lot of times USC just hasn't really made their athletics priority, I'd say, especially basketball. So they're trying to do that now with this big hire, and we'll see if it translates to them. But that is the coaches that I just wanted to highlight that are making their debuts. Obviously, there's more around the country, but we want to go into them. But next thing we want to go to is the top returning scorers for this year. These guys have come from other schools, so most of them. So it doesn't really, take it for what you think. But I got the other schools they were at, but they pretty much all 21 a game. I could have a long list, 20 gamers, but these were just our top guys. We have another one too, but Tyson Acuff, Jordan Sears, and then we got Tucker DeVries, which I think West Virginia is going to be pretty good. They got another guy, another transfer we'll get into in a minute. And then Mark Sears, the only guy on this list that was, at Alabama last year and at his school. So all these other guys came from other squads. Tyson Acuff came from Eastern Michigan, and then Jordan Sears came from Tennessee Martin. Tucker DeVries came from Drake, but Drake has been pretty good. So I like him. He's pretty good. I think he's just a do it guy. He's a mid range guy, makes heady plays, but he's sneaky athletic too. So Mark Sears is a bucket. Alabama, they got the Final Four last year. They're probably going to maybe go back. Another guy we have to round out the list is Jalen Blackman from Miami, 21 a game. He was at Stetson last year. But yeah, taking a look back here, these are some bucket getters, and we're going to see what Rutgers does. He joins a studded Rutgers team that I just showed earlier. And we're going to see they need some help. They're going to need some help. So I want to go into these top teams here. Like I said, we had the top 25. Take another look before we get into these teams. What we're going to do is I'm going to look into top 8 teams here, then some other stuff. And we are going to go to the new additions and then maybe returning scores, right? So a lot of new additions, and a lot of these guys are coming from other schools, which I get. A lot of people say their stats are going to take a dip, but transferring's a part of the game. You really pretty much just got to take it for what it is. And let's get into it, off that note. So the first team we'll go to is the number one rated team. We'll go with their newcomers here, Kansas. We got Flory and Raquise Passmore. So these are some pretty good guys here, number 14th in the nation and number 49. So pretty good guys here. I mean, with the transfer portal heating up, you never know what you're going to see of coming off high school. You need solid high school guys that are either going to stash them and not play them a lick at all, and they're going to sit the whole time, or you're going to get new freshman guys, and they're going to be trying to make them one and dones, and so on and so forth. So these guys, we'll see what they do and where they fit into the mold. Kansas is trying to get back to paradise there, and they're trying to lift up a trophy. I think they have a shot, but I don't know. We'll see. They have some good returning scores, though. They got KJ Adams there, 12 a game. We'll see what he can do. He's joining, obviously some other good guys too. He's David Coit. David Coit's 20 a game last year, so we'll see what he does. But he did transfer from Northern Illinois, so we'll see if the scoring can translate. Usually, when Kansas gets those guards from those littler schools, they're either really good or really bad. I have faith in him. We'll see. He's only 5'11", which is really rare now, which is crazy. It's rare to see a guy under 6 foot, handling the ball at any basketball team, especially D1. So next guy we want to go to is their star who kind of makes it run, is Hunter Dickinson. Feel like he's been in college for like 80 years now. Kansas, they lost to my Gonzaga Bulldogs in the the tournament last year. We beat them pretty bad. Honestly, I didn't think we were going to beat them by that much. Dickinson didn't play good. He was hurt, playing through injury, but that's what I think that's the big reason he came back, is because he wasn't healthy. So 17 in a game, pretty much 18 and 11 he averaged last year. I mean, he's a college player. I mean, he's just a college dog, and they got some other guys too. They got Zeke Mayo, who's 18 a game. He was at Alabama last year. So, I mean, Final Four team, and he's coming to Kansas. Weird when you're on the Final Four team and you score 18 a game and you transfer. That just either goes to show you they had some guys coming in that are really good, or maybe just the issues with the coach, or that's weird. You just never really see that, But he's from Kansas, so going back home, and he said, all right, if I can throw 18 a game here at Alabama, I can probably throw maybe 20 at Kansas, or maybe at least do the same thing. So we'll see what they can do. I mean, they have some other guys that kind of round out the bunch. They have DeJuan Harris, 8 a game. He's a returning player, but Zeke Mayo, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. South Dakota State, but the Alabama transfer I'm really excited about, and 11 a game he had last year, but we'll see. I like Kansas, but I think Bill Self is just really on like not the hot seat, just on like, I don't know. We just don't really expect too much out of Bill Self. He kind of blows it. He loses big games in the regular season, and then I think it always comes to bite him in the tournament. But I think a team that's kind of leapfrogged him is Alabama. So we didn't really expect to see Alabama in the Final Four last year. These are their new guys. These are the recruits coming in out of high school. So they got 15, I think, in the nation, 32 and 34. Pretty good. I mean, we'll see what they can do. They got LeBaron Fallon, I like the name, Aiden Sherrill, and Darian Reed. Don't have any highlights on him, but we do have some highlights of some other guys of transfers coming in. A guy I want to highlight on Alabama is only 7 a game, right? But he transferred from Auburn. His name's Aiden Holloway. He's a long body, very good, but he plays bigger than his size. He's long guard, but he's only 6'1", probably like 6'2", but he's just got upside. We're going to see if he's a bust. I think when you transfer, from Auburn to Alabama, you're playing with trouble right there. That's like going to UK and U of L. We've seen some players do that recently, go from, football, but basketball, it's really rare to go to, a rival school. So we'll see. We got Grant Nelson coming there. That was a transfer from North Dakota State last year, who's an NBA talent. 11 a game. I think that scoring's going to go up this year, but they just have so much guys. Like you said, they have, like I said, they have a turn and scorer that's 21 a game, and Mark Sears. I mean, they just don't need for buckets anywhere, right? They don't need for buckets anywhere. They have guys. They have a lot of guys that are going to jump up in minutes that didn't play last year. So I really expect Alabama to maybe be in at least the Elite Eight. I think they have some guys that are very promising. They have a Mallet. He was a 14 a game last year. So we can see if that'll translate. He was at Pepperdine, which is, people say it's just Pepperdine, but they do have some good transfers. And we got one of them on Gonzaga, which his name's Ajayi. So Michael Ajayi, Big Mike, will go into him in a second. So he is another transfer from Pepperdine. We'll see what he does. But they have Clifford Amoru, which is not pictured here, but he's on the team. He transferred from Rutgers. He was 10 a game last year. So they have guys. They have Chris Youngblood, who was at Kennesaw State, but then he went to South Florida, and he was at 15 a game at South Florida last year. So they got guys that transfers, and it's really a guessing game when you're coming into the first day of the season of who's going to have who, and is this, he's a good over there, but is he going to be good over here? Did he get 20 a game, but was he efficient? We'll see. A lot of when you come to a blue blood, those players either really good or really bad. But we'll get into the next team here. We're ripping and rolling through our top 8, which is UConn. They're going for the three-peat. We've mentioned it. They're going to be mentioning it all year. Get used to it. Any team that's going for a back-to-back is going to be talked about, let alone a three-peat. So this is their recruits they got coming in. Liam McNeely, a very good player, 10 in the nation. Then they got the number 33 player in the nation, Ahmad Newell, and Isaiah Abraham, which some people maybe think he's a project. We'll see. We'll see. I like the first two definitely, McNeely and Newell. I think they will play. And I think they have some other guys coming in. They got a transfer from St. Mary's. I know a lot about him. With me being a Gonzaga fan, our rivals St. Mary's. With us moving conferences next year, we don't have to worry about them anymore just because they're annoying. And obviously, if you play a team 50 times, you'll lose to them a couple. But, yeah, this is Aiden Mahaney. He came from St. Mary's last year, 14 a game. He was, I think, projected to be a little bit better. He's a shooter when he gets hot, but he's only good when he gets hot. He's not like consistent all game. Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I don't think it's going to translate. He got benched a lot from their season. He got taken out of the game. Didn't finish a lot of big games just because he wasn't shooting efficiently. You can see his percentage right here. He shot 38% from the floor. And when you're coming from a little school and you only shot 38% from the floor, it's not that good, man. So I don't know how this is going to translate. I don't know. I think they could have got somebody better than him for real. I'm not even hating, but Aiden Mahaney, we'll see what he can do. They have another guy that's actually coming back that was on the team last year, Alex Caravan. Probably their best guy that's coming back, 13 a game, 5 rebounds. So big guy, 6'8", 225. See if he can, use his body and take over fill that hole that Klingon left. Klingon, their big guy who's at Portland Trailblazers now, who's probably going to be their big guy for the future, I think. And they're going to force some other guys to get out of the team there on the Trailblazers because they have DeAndre Ayton still, and they have Robert Williams. So probably one of them are going to get traded. And we're going to go into our next team here, which I am very skeptical on. I don't know why they're ranked so high. I really don't, which is Houston. Now, this is the recruits they got coming in. Now, if you're not familiar with Mercy Miller, it's a great name. Yeah, I get it. But you got to see that name. He looks just like his dad. So that is Master P. That's Master P's son. He's coming in college now. We're getting old. So Master P, famous rapper who actually played basketball. He was on the preseason team with the Toronto Raptors and the Hornets. Didn't make the team, but I mean, he was a rapper and then literally made the training camp for the NBA. And a lot of people said he got snubbed. If you look on YouTube, he actually had some pretty good preseason games. So his son here, Mercy Miller, he's got another son that plays for Louisville, which is, where I live. But Chase McCarty as well coming in. We'll see if these guys, they're going to probably rely on them a lot more than these other teams in the top 10 to cut off their recruits, because I just don't see where the production is. All these other teams that they have ranked below them and above them have, I think, more production coming in. And as a prediction to look down the road, I don't know if it's going to translate. I mean, they got Emmanuel Sharp, which he is returning, which, shout out to him. He had 12 a game last year, almost 13. But I don't know. He was a returning player. They have Jawan Roberts. He was a returning player at 9.5 in a game. And L.J. Cryer, who's a returning player at 15 a game. I got him here. So I don't know, man. I don't know why they're ranked so high. I think, yeah, every team's got good players. You can argue that, but I don't think these guys got good enough players to be a team with a target on their back. I think Rutgers is a team that you're going to see finished way higher than Houston. Houston's been good these past couple of years, but I really don't see why they're rated above a Duke, who we're going to get into, and why they're rated above a Baylor, or my Gonzaga Bulldogs. I really don't see why they're rated that high. We're going to see if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Maybe they just come out hooping, and maybe they just got guys. They got senior leaders here. Win Cryer. We'll see if he can get it done. But next team we want to go into is probably the most hated team in college basketball, but I think they're the most respected this year, which is the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, it's going to be a long year for anybody that plays them. Best team they've had since Zion. Everyone thought Zion's team was going to win the national championship. They should have lost to Taco Fall in the tournament, but they were a good team. They had R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish, but they didn't get it done. I think this team right here is going to be better. They got Cooper Flag, number one player coming in the nation. They have some other guys too that we're going to be talking about that are absolute problems. Like I hate Duke, and I don't like Duke either, but they got guys, and this is with again being a Gonzaga fan. I will say this because we beat that Zion team. We beat the Zion and RJ Barrett team in the Maui Invitational. People want to say, yeah, it's the Maui Invitational, it wasn't the tournament, but we beat them, and I'll take the win. Not a lot of teams beat them that year, but I want to say this. I think I'm the same amount of confidence in Gonzaga this year, but I think we're better, which it doesn't really make sense. I should be more confident, but that just goes to show you how every other team got better. Duke's one of them. They got Tyrese Proctor coming back, returning. He had 10 a game last year. If you have a double digit, returning score in college, that's a big time. And they have a multiple. So they have him, they have Zion James. They have, let's see here. He had 14 a game last year. He's from Georgia, 6'6" guy there, 220. Going to see if he can be just a veteran presence. He's a senior. We'll see. They have a Rice transfer as well. His name is Cameron Sheffield. He's only a 7 a game from Rice, and then he goes to Duke. So he's just going to probably be a depth guy. But these are just the newcomers. And then they have another guy, Malik Brown, which we'll get into. He is 9.5 a game, but 7 rebounds. So 9-7, almost 10-7, which is big in college if you can get a guy to get rebounds. And obviously they got Cooper Flag coming in, number one player in the nation, which it's crazy. They have this guy right here in the middle, I want to show you, number one in the jersey. His name is Kaman Maluk, I believe. I'm probably murdering that name, but you're gonna know about this guy. 7'2", 250, and moves. He moves. He can shoot threes. This guy's probably going to be the number one big taken off the board in this year's draft. And this is not even their only prospect that's probably going to be top 15. So they have this other guy named Khan Canopal, white dude there. He's in the bottom left, number 0 in the picture. But he was the 18th player in the nation. And what he reminds you of is a Dalton Connect. But if you remember, last year Dalton Connect went to JUCO, went to a low level D1 or D2 team, and then he went to Tennessee. And this guy's coming fresh out of high school. He's probably probably going to be better than him midway through the season. I swear, he's going to be like a Dalton Connect. He can do it all: move around, shoot, sneaky athletic. You don't expect him to move when he moves, and he does. And then you just sleep on him on the defense, and then he just fires it right over you or goes past you. Like he's pretty good, and he's big. So we'll see about that. Then they have obviously Cooper Flag, Isaiah Evans, number 13th player in the nation, and then Kamal Maluk, who I mentioned there, who was number 4th player in the nation, came over from the NBA Africa program, which a lot of people don't know. NBA, they pretty much own and operate these basketball academies in different countries. I think they got one in France, they got one in Spain, and they have one in Africa. Joel Embiid came from the NBA Africa program. It's kind of where we found them, and they school them, they give them their classes, and then they just train basketball at starting 15, 14, and they're churning out guys left and right. We have some international recruits, a list of those that are coming into college this year since the NIL. A lot of people don't know you can turn pro overseas at 16, and they'll just earn money over there and play pro. But now since you can earn money in college, some of them are just coming over here and getting raises, and it's shaking up the whole world. But another guy we got coming in from international play who's on our next team, which I can kind of see why they are rated where they're at, and but I don't understand why at the end of the season nobody's understand. But they just got a lot of turnover and a lot of questions mark. We've already mentioned they play tonight. They play my Gonzaga Bulldogs, which is VJ Edgecombe, number 5 player coming in the nation, projected top 5 pick depending where you look. He's going to be a top 5 pick. I think he'll be right there at 5. He's explosive. He's from New York, but he's actually Bahamian. He was on the Bahamas national team this past summer. Just a freaking baller. I don't know how to explain it. You're going to see tonight if you stay up to watch him play. But if you don't stay up and watch him play, you're going to see the highlights tomorrow. He can do everything. I don't have highlights of him, but I have some highlights of some other guys. I didn't want to put highlights in here because Gonzaga, we play them tonight, and I'm scared. I'm scared he's going to go crazy tonight, but he's a top 5 player coming in the nation. They have some other guys too that are, some talented guys. This is Rob Wright. He played with Cooper Flag at Montverde Academy. So Montverde is a basketball factory there, prep school in Florida. And they've had Joel Embiid, had Ben Simmons, D'Angelo Russell. Cooper Flag now, and they've had a bunch Scotty Barnes. So they've had a lot of guys. And next one they've had to add to their list is Rob Wright, number 23 player in the nation, joining Baylor. We'll see what he can do and help out VJ Edgecombe. I'm sure he will, and I'm sure they'll be just fine. So they have a JUCO guy as well, Giannis Nijunga. This is his New York Military Institute or New Mexico Military Institute stats. So this is his JUCO stats. Pretty good player. Watch some film. He's a guy you need on your team. He's going to be physical, not scared to rebound. And yeah, he's just a guy you're going to need on your team. And then, so yeah, we have Houston at 6, and then Baylor is rounding out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where they're really going to finish. Obviously, they are a great team, but I don't know where they're going to finish. So I want to go into my team, who they're matched up with tonight, next, and then we'll go into a team which I'm very skeptical on. But they have so many guys that had 10 points a game coming back. But I want to go into the Gonzaga Bulldogs, my team here. We're led by Graham Ike, returning 16 a game. We only have one newcomer on the team. We return so much production. We lost Anton Watson to the draft. He is now a Boston Celtic, so he's on the championship team. Pretty good gamble there. He got drafted by a good organization. So we got Graham Ike. He's the guy that makes it go for us. We're going to see him ball out tonight and throughout the whole season. He's on the Karl Malone World Watch List. Top big guy. We have Ryan Nembhard, which is our point guard. So everybody knows Andrew Nembhard, point guard there for Indiana Pacers, who was a Gonzaga Bulldog. His little brother was too, transferred from Creighton, Ryan Nembhard. So 12 a game last year, almost 7 assists, 6.9. So he's a guy that can distribute. He's not scared. He knows what he's doing out there, and he just is really just a facilitator, a little undersized, but it doesn't really matter because he knows how to use his body, and he gets into the lane. He penetrates, he kicks it out when he needs to. Good floater on him. But next guy I want to get into while we're going through Gonzaga is our transfer, Caliph Battle. He's going to be wearing number 99 for us, which is crazy. But Caliph Battle, shout out to him, man. It is how it's pronounced, I promised. I looked it up. But yeah, he's really good. He's actually from Jersey. With Gonzaga, we haven't had too many guys from like New York and Jersey area on our team. We actually get a lot of West Coast guys, Texas sometimes. But yeah, he's actually really good. He had 14.8 last year at Arkansas, and he had a crazy into his year, which we will get into in his game log, which I'll have a graphic for. But fearless shooter. He kind of got hot at the end of the season last year, which we see that all the time in college. But yeah, almost 15 a game. He can pull up from anywhere. He's fearless at the bucket. Good layup, package, however you want to do it. He doesn't really dunk on people, but he doesn't need to. He just gets a bucket. So the next guy we want to get into, very excited about a transfer, is Michael Ajayi from Pepperdine. Big body. They call him Big Mike. He's going to be very good for us, 17 a game and almost 10 rebounds, pretty much 9.9. A stat that's not on here, which I'm very excited to say, though, which is insane, is Michael Ajayi shot 47% from downtown from 3-point last year. For the season, he shot 47% from downtown. So, I mean, he's back home in Washington. I think it's a big reason why he transferred from California. So we're going to see, man. I think we got a clear-cut spot for him as a guy who can maybe take the reins. He's 6'7", 228. He kind of reminds you of like a Rudy Gay. If anybody remembers Rudy Gay, who just actually retired this year. Shout out Rudy. But yeah, he plays a lot like him. And another guy we got coming here at our team is this big guy here. Now, we have been getting guys from Euros. Now, this guy wasn't even getting recruited. He wasn't even like in the college thing, but we hit him up and we got him to, come over to the States. He's from Real Madrid in Diage, and he's going to be really good. He might be a project this year because we do have Graham Ike, but watch out for him. We're getting guys from Real Madrid, and so other teams are too. But I think we're going to be good, man. I mean, number 6 in the nation. I think is a very good ranking. I think I can't be too picky. I would have took 5, but we'll see. I think tonight won't be surprised if we're 0-1. I'll go ahead and say that right now. If we lose to Baylor, because Baylor's going to be very good. So they're 8 in the nation. I won't be mad if the number 6 team loses to the number 8 team coming out. I won't be mad at that, because I don't think they should be 8. I think they should be, right there with Houston. So next team we want to get into that's rounding out the top 8 is Iowa State. They have a returning guy with Keyshawn Gilbert, 13.7 a game. They have a newcomer. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Nohus Industratis, whatever. Yep. Hopefully he's good. Make people pronounce his name right. But he's from Brewster Academy. Brewster's actually produced some pretty good guys. I think Brewster, that is where Jalen Green went. Yeah, Jalen Green went to there. Jaylen Brown on the Celtics. That's where Jaylen Brown went. He went to Brewster. So very good, basketball, prodigy there. I mean, he's not an overseas guy because he actually was in the States. He doesn't count as an overseas recruit, but number 95 in the nation. And we're going to see with these overseas recruits, they didn't rate him right. They only rated him they rated them literally in order. And there was 5 players in a row. It was 201 through 206. I'm like, all right, there's no way they're that close in talent, ironically. But next thing we want to go into is our transfers. So these are our top transfers coming into a new year. I mean, with this new day and age, you kind of have to learn. If you have a favorite team, more than likely you got to learn a whole new team every year, which is kind of frustrating, but it's fun if you do it. If you do it right. So we'll go ahead and get into it here and bring it up. So we got Kadary Richmond, who got from Seton Hall to St. John's. We have some highlights on him. Armaro Ballo, who's actually was at Gonzaga, my Gonzaga Bulldogs. We used to call him Baby Shaq, but he was at Gonzaga, then went to Arizona. Now he's at Indiana, and we're going to see what he does there. Going to be one of the top bigs in the nation. Very strong guy. He's from Mali, and we recruited him from Mali, and very good guy. John L. Davis was one of those guys that left FAU, and they lost their coach there and went to Arkansas to join John Calipari. He looks like Terry Rozier to me. He's kind of like a smaller Terry Rozier. AJ Storr, who went from Wisconsin to Kansas, watched some highlights on him last night. He's okay, but he's a little undersized. He's solid. I'm just gonna say he's solid. He's nothing crazy, but I don't think Kansas always kind of takes shots on transfers. Either that's really good in their scouting department, or sometimes it doesn't work out. And then we got Norshad Omier, who went from Miami to Baylor. Another one of the guys who Baylor's going to rely on for some points. So we'll see. And then we have some more transfers as well. Like we have mentioned, Tucker DeVries went from Drake to West Virginia. And then another guy we want to get into, we have highlights on. His name's Great Osobor. If you look at him, he's right under there, number 7 ranked transfer. He's a very good big, Utah State. Now he's at Washington, and we're going to see what he can do. Then we got Javon Small. Want to highlight him, number 9. He came from Oklahoma State and West Virginia now. Going to be a very good guard, and we have highlights on him. So Devion Smith here at number 12 is our next one. He went from Utah to St. John's. So St. John's, man, they're trying to get relevant in basketball. Obviously, they got Rick Pitino, and I feel like they haven't been good in so long. I remember they had Marty Collins back in the day. But they had Ron Artest back in the day. They haven't had too many, crazy good guys, honestly. So we're going to see if they can, turn a new page with their program and NIL and get some old school coaching in there with Pitino. That's usually a flip of a coin when you got kind of an old school coach in there. So Clifford Amori, went over him earlier. He's on Alabama. Pretty good guy, pretty good big. They're going to need him. That's pretty much the only thing they needed from last year, and just do the same thing as they did last year. It's hard to be the same team twice in the year, when you're good, and especially when you go to the Final Four. But, he's hoping to join the team and lead them to the national championship, at least in appearance. So Mark Mitchell went from Duke to Missouri. Watch out for him. He's actually pretty good. I like him. So that kind of rounds out our top transfers. We have 3 more here, but we have Dylan Mitchell went from Texas to Cincy. Brandon Garrison, who they're going to rely on in Kentucky a lot from a lot of their strength. They haven't had a lot of good transfers and big guys these last few years, but we're going to see if they can kind of turn the tide and get some big guys. I think if Mark Pope can do that, then he will earn some respect, at least from me and, everyone else definitely, which sounds like they're on board with them. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, they weren't really mad about the hire, so that's you don't want to have your team mad about the hire. So the whole time going into the season, but like we said, we have some transfer highlights here. This is the number 1 transfer in the nation. He's rated. I think it's kind of arguable, but you're going to see this guy does have some game. He comes from Seton Hall to St. John's, had 15.7, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now that's probably why he's rated right there, number 1, just off the spread. Now I think points wise, you got some better scores coming in, but they took an all around cumulative of talent, but we'll see if it translates. Seton Hall was actually pretty good last year. Shout out Frank the Tank, Seton Hall fan, but he's on the Jerry West Award watch list, top small forward in the nation. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into it, man. Got some highlights here, and you take a chance here and just look at them and see what you think about Kadary. It's a Seton Hall highlights, obviously, and we're going to see if he can translate it to, St. John's. teams are competitive. It's good for college basketball. They benefit with NIL, the transfer portal. If they can't pay the players that come out of high school, well, they can at least get some guys coming from other schools. So it's hard to get guys that come to those schools, especially in a lot of the good talent, California, Texas, places where it's not as cold. So it's hard to get those players. Villanova's been able to do it. They've been with the national
so deep. The largest lead of the night is
good. Really sweet. That's a top transfer in the nation. Gary Richmond. Get used to his name, maybe. We're going to see what he can do. We have some other guys we want to get into, man. While we have time, and we want to get into Great Osborne. The next guy we want to get into. We'll finish up here in Gary. This guy's coming from Utah State. Very good big guy, man. 17.7 a game, 9 rebounds, and almost 3 assists, which is very good for a big guy. I watched all these guys film last night, kind of thought of some maybe comparisons. This guy reminds me of like a Tristan Thompson back in the day, which you might joke on Tristan Thompson. He's not that good anymore, but when he was coming up in college, Tristan Thompson was very good. He could pass. And it kind of reminds me of like a Tristan Thompson, maybe like a little bit of a bigger LaMarcus Aldridge a little bit, but this guy's good, man. Great Osobor. We're going to see what he can do, and he is on the Karl Malone Award watch list preseason, and we're going to see why he is on that list right now. I promise. He is a very good big.
By yourself. Stevens. Corner 3 blocked.
Good hustle play. He's just
Osobor got out there.
That's
a great scramble by Utah State. Great rotation. Cartier working on Osobor and the offensive board. Couldn't get it, and Darius Brown wants to run for Utah State. Osobor running the floor, gets the two-hand dunk.
He's had multiple
the Brown and Osobor can.
And Utah State's actually.
The scouts come out in league. Look at the position right there by Osobor. He just buried.
Coaches, once a team scores a basket or two against the zone, they're only too happy to get out of it.
Osobor comes up
tournament game right there.
Osobor's
I mean, you want to see guys, if you can get a guy who's on your team who's transferring, looking for a new home, who put up numbers and he's already played in March, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Looking from the outside.
I think he might be in contention for Player of the Year.
Especially a guy that just didn't ride the boom.
And the ball stripped away and stolen away. 2-on-1 fast break. False slip.
Yeah, man, look at that dunk right there.
Oh, great Osobor. Skies and throws down the one-handed hammer.
I like this guy.
Oh, great Osobor. That was filthy.
Living up to his name.
Point guard. Nice pass. One big man to another.
And here's that zone. That's a great high low. Osobor the finish. He's got 20. 12th time.
Crazy, we had so many games on today, man.
Guy from the weak side corner there coming all the way over and trying to keep a body on Edey.
Start a little bit later. I don't hate that idea, but we're glad it's back. We had that game start at 3 when our stream started, St. Louis and Santa Clara.
That is his game. That is his game, and he gets to the free throw line. He will catch it. And this is just a really nice move by Falslev to get it in there. Osobor will take it the other way.
Coach John Schertz is their debut.
Count the 2, foul. Well, look at that. Brown, who can really handle. Look at this screen.
They are down by 3 right now with 41 seconds in the first half. They're down against Santa Clara. Santa Clara's actually in there.
Check the ball up the floor.
They got Jalen Williams, who played under for a couple years ago. And pretty good player, man. So they've been not a sleeper. So that is great. Osobor has been transferring in. We'll see what he do. Leads us to our next one, which is Javon Small. Javon Small coming from Oklahoma State to West Virginia. Now, he is going to be teamed up with DeVries, and I think they're going to be really good this year. Watch out for West Virginia. They're going to be actually pretty good. I think they've missed on a few transfers these past couple years at the point guard position, and I think this year, they actually got some good transfers that's going to help them out. They kind of learned the hard way. So shout out D'Lo, my buddy D'Lo, D'Angelo Hunter, former West Virginia Mountaineer. high school buddy there. We went to the same high school, and yeah, he went to West Virginia, man. And I always like to see them do good. Ever since he was there, he only played 1 year, but played under Bob Huggins, legendary coach Bob Huggins. Shout out him. But Javon Small, 15 a game, 4-4, and he's not that big. I mean, he plays bigger than you think. He doesn't play up to his name. He plays big, but he still, you can get 4 rebounds, almost 5 on a Big 12 team. That's pretty big. So we're gonna get into some highlights here, and you can see that he's just fearless at the rim. And man, he's actually going to be a very good pickup. That's why we got him on here for a reason. He was rated 9th on the transfers, but I think he maybe should have been a little higher. That's going to be pretty good for West Virginia. They haven't had a guy like this in a long time, a guy who can just go out and get a bucket like that. They just don't. They have a lot of just blue-collar guys, a lot of P.J. McConnells out there, but they haven't had some bucket getters like this in a long time. So, watch out for West Virginia, man. We'll see. They're trying to usher in a new era. Yeah, man. Javon Small, Oklahoma State. They produced some good talents. Marcus Smart, Cade Cunningham, and then actually been a pretty good team. I like to see them better at everything. They should be a better football team. They should be a better basketball team. We'll see. Everybody can't be good though. See that move right there? God, great bucket. He's playing against good competition too. Coming from the Big 12, you love to see that. Especially when it's crazy, man. It's crazy. We're going to see a lot of good transfers every single year. For whatever reason. Just fit, recruiting, coaching. Just wanting to play for a bigger conference, better team. Sometimes it is just simply, they got more money in a new place. You never know. But that is the nature of the game. This guy's just a bucket, man. He's pretty good. Javon Small. We're looking out for him all year. A lot of good sleeper teams this year. We'll get into some good sleeper teams in our next stream. We're going to have one, until it kind of gets heated up, until football dies down. We're having an NBA stream every week and a college basketball stream every week. So we'll have picks and some predictions. Sleeper teams, we'll have to look that on, but I don't think West Virginia's going to be a sleeper team with him on this game. This guy's pretty good. He's pretty good, man. So, yeah, we'll see what West Virginia does. I want to get into our next transfer on our list that's very good. I'm not just putting this because he's on my Gonzaga Bulldogs. This guy is a certified bucket. We went over him. We're going to go over him again. Michael Ajayi, 17 a game, almost 10 rebounds, 47% from 3 for the whole season. You don't see that ever. I don't care where you're playing in. Even, if it's Division I, if you shot 47% from 3, you're a good player. So this guy's pretty fearless. I like him. He was at Pepperdine last year. They had Michael Porter Jr.'s brother on their team too last year. So everybody transferred from Pepperdine last year. Their coaching they were supposed to be actually pretty decent last year, and they weren't. So this guy's good, man. He kind of reminds me of a poor man's Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, he's not as good as a defender, but he's fearless, and he knows how to he use his body and just get a bucket.
Section player of the year, the high school senior. Ajayi right side turns 14-foot shot.
A deep bench, have multiple guys that can play and contribute, so they're not pressed to play everybody heavy minutes every night out.
Turn around and jump
41%. You don't see mid-range anymore, man. If you got a guy coming in from high school or anywhere, transfer doesn't matter. If he's got a mid-range, I'd want him on my team. People are always going for the 3 points, man. I'd rather get 2 2s than 1 3. Honestly, I think that's what a lot of people forget. And that's where a lot of these older guys make a lot of their money. You see Jimmy Butler in the NBA makes a lot of his money off mid-range. There's nothing wrong with the mid-range. You see Jordan Hawkins for the Pelicans. He's a good 3-point shooter, but he makes a lot of mid-range buckets too. It's going to be pretty good for us, man. We are going to see. Obviously, you never know with a transfer, especially coming in from a little school, but he was in our conference. And I'd like to think our scouting department did their homework on him. We've always been pretty good with transfers. We've missed on a couple. Everyone kind of misses sometimes, but we've actually been pretty good with transfers, honestly. Yeah, man, which I want to get into. I'm not trying to harp and beat a dead drum, but yeah, Gonzaga, we got another one transferred too. This guy's an absolute bucket. He's just a pure scorer. If you look at his game log there, I mean, look at his games and look how he finished the season last year. Absolute bucket coming in from Arkansas. I mean, look at that. Look at that tear he was on. He went for 42, 36, 34, 29, 22, 24, and then 20. So, I mean, absolute bucket. His name's Khalif Battle. It is how you pronounce it. It's not Khalif Battle. Kind of wish it was, but shout out Khalif Battle. We'll get into him, and this is his Khalif Battle, and he's our last transfer we're going to go over, and you're going to see some buckets here. Promise. Absolute beast here, man. I mean, I had to cut. This is a lot. I'm not even going to show off my He's very, very cool. It's just hard. You see guys that just stick to one or two moves. That's all they do. They're scared to try something new. They just don't really have the bag. This guy, he jumps forever. He actually went to Temple. Started at Temple, then went to Arkansas, and now he's at Gonzaga. He's home now. He's gonna be wearing number 99 for his jersey. So I've never seen that. He's gonna be good. I'm very excited. We'll see him play tonight at 11:30. We'll play Baylor. Freshman sensation BJ Edgecombe, and some veteran presence as well. And we're going to see. We're going to see two teams actually have some experience, but we don't have a top 5 guy like BJ Edgecombe. I'm not lie. Cat. I don't know what's going to happen, man. Look at that, man. He's just such a good shooter, and he just went on a freaking tear at the end of the season last year. Very excited to see what happens, and very excited to see where we go this season. I will say, though, I mean, Duke is going to be a hard out. I don't see how anyone's going to beat Duke. I don't see how, unless they just get hurt. It doesn't mesh or play well. But look at that step back. Man. He's just good. When I saw he transferred here, we got him. I was just like, how? Very good player. Athletic. Can shoot it. Like a poor man's John Morant, you know, everything else does like John Morant. And, on the outside, a little bit. He's not care. Now he comes off the big. We have a very good big. Greg, Braden Huff, very guy. Big guys you can just jump in. That's hard, especially when the defense is accounting for the other 4 guys and you have nowhere to go. And if it's late in the shot clock, if you can just pull up somewhere like that, it's always going to be good for you. It's always going to translate. Khalif Battle, we're going to see, man. Look at that burn he's got. 11:30 tonight. That's what we play. Number 6 versus number 8. Gonzaga versus Baylor. We are going to see, man. I'm very excited. We have another, top 3 games. We have so many games, but we can't watch 50 games. It's impossible. I think every day we'll have every 2 days, depending on our schedule, we're going to have at least 3 to 5 games. Look on our Instagram, and that'll be there, especially on our Twitter, on our X, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, that'll be on there too. But, obviously we're not going to put out a schedule of every game, and we'll have one college basketball show, a week, and then we'll have an NBA show a week. And then once it kind of ramps up and once football dies down, they'll probably move up to 2 each. So I'm very excited. It's going to be loaded season, man. What's going to happen? Is UConn going to get the 3rd national championship in a row? I don't think so. I'm going to go ahead and say a prediction. If you want to go ahead and give me a prediction or give you a prediction on who's going to win it all, besides my Gonzaga Bulldogs, besides us, Duke. Duke's going to be really tough. You got to see that big guy tonight. He's a problem. 7'2", 250, and he shoots. What are you going to do? Cooper Flagg, number 1 player in the nation. They say he's been burning pro since he was a teen. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. Um, we are very excited. I mean, with us being a Gonzaga fan, we're the biggest game of the night. All the other good teams are playing nobodies tonight. So I mean, we're the marquee matchup of tip off. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, we have a lot of coaches making debuts this year. We'll go through them real quick again before we end, and everybody enjoy their hoops. But we got Mark Pope at Kentucky, Dusty May at Michigan from FAU. We got John Schertz, who's playing right now. They're at halftime. They are down 7 against Santa Clara. So we're going to see. He's from he's from D2 formerly, then went to Indiana State. Now he's at St. Louis. So John Calipari, everyone knows. He's at Arkansas this year. We're going to see what happens. We got Pat Kelsey at Louisville. He is from Charleston. I'm skeptical about that one. That maybe proves me wrong. Eric Musselman from Arkansas. Now he's at USC. I'm very like that. Reminds me of Rick Barnes. I like this coach. He's well respected. He's a player's coach, but he still runs a tight program. I like him. I think he can do it. I mean, if he can get some boosters to buy in and he can get some guys to kind of buy in on basketball, like some of these other Texas Techs, like I said, and Houston's, they've been able to do it. And you see them and they're, perennial tournament teams. Now you got Arkansas, China joining in. So I think USC can do the same thing. I think they're kind of up front against UCLA as far as their rival. But if I want to take a look another here in prediction with Rutgers, I think Rutgers is going to be real good. Them at 25 kind of blows my mind. They got Ace Bailey coming in. They got the lefty Dylan Harper, son of a pro. He's got the genes. So, I mean, this guy's an absolute beast. He's probably going to be the second pick. Probably going to be the second pick behind Cooper Flagg, depending on who. I don't know. You can't go wrong this draft. You cannot go wrong. Last year's draft, Alex Sarr is number 1. You had the Reese Shea kid, or Reese Shea went number 1. Alex Sarr went 2. Like, these guys are projects at best. But these guys, top 8, top 7, are ready to roll. They're ready to roll. And I think it's going to be a very good season, man. I think the NBA's in great hands. NBA had a change of a guard last year. Everybody thought it was going to be last year. Anthony Edwards really saved the league last year because he was the only young guy that really did it. People want to say maybe Tyrese Halliburton, but I think a lot of other guys were supposed to be good. Like John Morant obviously had his off-court thing. LaMelo was hurt, and their team's just not that good. But he had to take the reins as the young guy, and a lot of those guys that were supposed to turn up last year are going to turn up this year, and then that's only going to keep rolling when these guys enter the league. So, I mean, I don't know. The NBA's in great hands. They're going to have to expand. 30 teams is not enough. There's too many good players out the league. I mean, we got former number 1 picks. I know Markelle Fultz isn't amazing, but he's out the league already. We got him as free agents. We're going to have an NBA stream later in the week to go over that. That's actually going to be a segment, sneak peek, top free agents coming in, where they're going to go. A lot of stuff that we've said on our NBA stream actually came to truth already. We got guys showing out everywhere. Miles McBride showing out. Benedict Mathurin showing out, young guy. Jay Huff, he was said he was going to have a good year. The Grizzlies, he was on a 2-way deal. He's already just signed a 3-year extension. He's averaging 13, and he averaged 2 points last year. So we got guys showing out left and right, up and comers. The league's in good hands. Everyone, go watch your guys that are on the way out the league. If you're a LeBron fan or not, you still, you got to watch them while you can. I got my Adam Morrison jersey in the back. Shout out Morrison, 2-time champ, Gonzaga Bulldog. We're going to see if we can get it done tonight. Shout out Morrison. Man, shout out Gonzaga. Kansas, number 1 team in the nation. I don't think they're gonna do it. Final 4 predictions. Let's go ahead and give you the final 4 predictions. Obviously, we don't know the bracket. We don't know, but the best 4 teams I'd say that it should be in the final 4. I'm gonna go with Alabama. I'm gonna go with Gonzaga, Duke, and then I'm on the fence. Really on the fence. You could see Rutgers making a run. I don't think they maybe not going to, just because you need a little bit more depth. But those guys are so good. You just never know if you can carry them. Can North Carolina shock some guys? They got some sophomores that are good. They're going to be we're going to be talking about later in the year. But can Calipari do it? Can Calipari finally get in the Final Four? That maybe would happen. Just him with it finally. You could never get there so long with Kentucky as loaded as they've been. But does he do it first year with Arkansas? I don't know. But the third team I'm going to round out the Final Four with, just off star power and a mixture of grit, is Baylor. And I'm not just saying that, man. I'm not just saying that. I think Kansas took a little bit too many gambles in the transfer portal. I think Hunter Dickinson is good, but not good in March. I know he was hurt, but we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and go with that 4 in no particular order. I don't know the seeds, obviously. We don't know the brackets, but I think Alabama be a good chance. Alabama, Gonzaga, Duke, and Baylor make it. Yep. I like that one a lot. Yep. So we'll see tonight, man. I'm really excited. I think Florida's going to have a good game. Watch out for the Florida Gators this year. They have some transfers. They have some guys coming in that are just promising. I'm very excited, man. We're going to end it at that. I'm not going to hold you. Hope everyone's having a great Monday, having a great week. I know I am. You got basketball starting up today. You got Monday Night Football. If you're excited for that, I mean, we're in it. It's officially the start. We're in the swing of things. I know NBA has already started, but we got injuries. We had 65 players miss the first game, and we have so many players out first week to where, man, it just doesn't feel like basketball's full in swing until we got college basketball here, which we do. So with that note, man, I want to thank everyone that's tuning in on Rumble. We've got great reviews on Rumble here recently. I really appreciate everyone on there and on YouTube as well and on Instagram. So shout out everyone. Enjoy your basketball, and we'll be on with the review. Hopefully Gonzaga wins, and but I won't be surprised if we lose. But with that being said, man, y'all have a good Monday and catch us on the next episode. We got football show tonight at 10 o'clock. Week 10 review, full review of Week 10 football. If you're a football fan, join us tonight. But until then, you'll have a great one. Peace.